From bloodletting gone wrong to cherries that killed a president. From dying on the exact same day 50 years after changing history together. Into getting shot in broad daylight while watching a play with your wife. The deaths of America's commanders-in-chief read like the wildest Netflix series you've never seen. And trust me, some of their final words were absolutely legendary. While others literally talked about soup. Yes, soup. Let's roll back to 1799,
I am not afraid
where
to
our story begins with George Washington, the man who could not tell a lie, riding his horse through freezing snow like it was just another Tuesday. Big mistake. He caught a throat infection so severe that the little flap at the base of his tongue swelled up like a balloon. Today, pop some antibiotics and you're good. Back then, doctors thought draining 6 Red Bulls worth of blood from your body was the answer. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. As Washington struggled for every breath, he told his doctor something that still gives me chills. I die hard. But I'm not afraid to go. His actual last words, simply, "'Tis well."
The fourth?
The man who founded a nation died with dignity and 2 words. But hold on to your history books. Because what happened next is so bizarre, it sounds made up. John Adams and Thomas Jefferson, revolutionary buddies who wrote and defended the Declaration of Independence together, became bitter political enemies.
The fourth?
For 10 whole years, they didn't speak. Radio silence. Then something beautiful happened. They reconnected as pen pals and became best friends again. Adorable. Right. Here's where it gets absolutely insane. On July 4th, Etienne Baba-Richelieu. Exactly 50 years after they signed that famous declaration, both men lay dying hundreds of miles apart. Jefferson, battling diarrhea, pneumonia, and a kidney infection. Asked the night before,
So close.
is it the 4th? When told not yet, he held on. Held on just long enough to make it to Independence Day. His final words, no. Doctor, nothing more. Meanwhile, up in Massachusetts, 90-year-old Adams had no idea his bestie had just died. His famous last words, Thomas Jefferson survives. Except Jefferson didn't. The cosmic poetry of these two dying on America's birthday. Still thinking of each other is the kind of coincidence that makes you wonder if the universe has a screenplay writer. James Madison almost joined this 4th of July death club. The father of the Constitution was slipping away, and doctors desperately tried keeping him alive until the 4th. His niece offered him stimulants. Madison, ever the gentleman, declined. Nothing more than a change of mind. My dear, I always talk better lying down. Translation, I'm ready to go. He died on June 28th.
I can't breathe.
Etienne Baba-Richelieu. So close to the trifecta. But James Monroe, the 5th president, actually made it happen. The 3rd president to die on Independence Day. The man spent his final moments thinking about his departed friend Madison, saying he regretted leaving this world without seeing him again. Are you sensing a pattern? These founding fathers really committed to the brand. Now, most presidents died peacefully in bed. But John Quincy Adams, this absolute legend, collapsed on the House floor while casting a vote. After his presidency, he didn't retire to play golf or write memoirs. No, he went back to Congress because apparently retirement was boring. Mid-vote, massive stroke, he grabbed his desk and went down. They carried him out. And his last words were perfectly on brand. This is the last of Earth. I am content. The man literally died doing what he loved, government work. Andrew Jackson was a different breed entirely. This guy fought duels, survived the first presidential assassination attempt, then beat his would-be killer with a cane. Absolute madman.
Oh,
You'd think he'd
my.
die in some
I've been
dramatic shootout.
promoted.
Right, nope. Tuberculosis, heart problems, and something called dropsy, where your body fills with water. Hydration is important, folks. But there's a limit. Surrounded by family, this tough-as-nails warrior turned into a softie. Oh. Do not cry. Be good children,
I
and
love
we
you
shall
for
all meet in
eternity.
heaven. Meanwhile, Martin Van Buren went quietly at his fancy
Oh, it's so
estate,
hot.
whispering about his trust in God. Then we get to William Henry Harrison, whose death was the result of one spectacularly bad decision. During his inauguration, this man gave a 2-hour speech in freezing rain without a coat. For over a century, everyone thought he caught pneumonia and died from that rookie mistake. Recent research says otherwise. He probably died from typhoid fever or contaminated White House water 3 weeks later.
Stomach.
Either way, 31 days into his presidency, Harrison was done. Shortest presidential term in history. His vice president, John Tyler,
Nothing.
got the world's fastest promotion. James Polk died young at 53.
Are you sure?
Yes,
And
absolutely
it's heartbreaking.
nothing.
3 months after leaving office,
I
he
regret
toured the
nothing.
South and caught cholera, a disease that gives you explosive diarrhea and worse. But even dying from that, he remained romantic to the end, telling his wife, "I love you, Sarah, for all eternity. I love you." If that doesn't make you feel something, check your pulse. Zachary Taylor's death sounds like a comedy sketch until you realize
do you
it's
love
real. 4th of July celebration. Sweltering heat.
It's amazing.
Taylor runs into the White House and demolishes a bowl of raw cherries and several glasses of milk. Food safety didn't exist back then. 3 days later,
She won't think
he's
anything
dead from
about it.
gastroenteritis. Some thought he was poisoned because Civil War tensions were heating up. But forensic scientists checked his body in the 1,990 seconds. Nope. Just bad cherries. Before dying, Taylor said something oddly formal. "I'm about to die. I expect the summons soon. I've tried to discharge my duties faithfully. I regret nothing." Then his VP, Millard Fillmore,
This
took
cannot
over.
be.
Fillmore lived much longer, eventually dying after someone gave him soup. His last words, "The nourishment is palatable." 5 stars for the soup. 0 stars for dramatic final words. Franklin Pierce's
We need to
death
get him to a
might be the
hospital.
saddest. Weeks before taking office, his son died in a horrific train accident right before his eyes. Pierce spiraled into depression and alcoholism, destroying his liver with cirrhosis. He died alone after losing re-election.
Disgrace to this
Nobody
office.
recorded his last words
dare
because
you lie
nobody
to
was
us.
there.
We
That hits
demand your
different.
resignation.
James
Oh, no,
Buchanan,
my money.
and considered one of the worst presidents for doing nothing while the Civil War approached, died from a respiratory
This is where we're seeing
infection.
the problem.
His final proclamation, "O Lord God Almighty,
No.
as thou wilt." Weak men create hard times, they say, and hard times created Abraham Lincoln tall, top-hatted, legendary. While watching a play at Ford's Theater, John Wilkes Booth shot him in the head. Lincoln's last words weren't profound wisdom for the ages. They were casual reassurance to his wife about holding hands in public. She won't think anything about it. Scandalous hand-holding. The 1,860 seconds equivalent of a relationship going Instagram official. Ulysses S. Grant, the war hero who saved the Union, got scammed out of his life savings in a Ponzi scheme. Then diagnosed with throat cancer from smoking 20 cigars daily. Talk about a rough retirement. determined to leave his family money. Grant spent his final days writing memoirs while cancer destroyed his throat. His last word, water. Just wanted a drink because his throat was so dry. From saving America to asking for water, life comes at you fast. James Garfield's death makes me furious. Shot twice at a train station. One bullet lodged in his back, but it missed his organs. He should have survived. Then doctors showed up with unsterilized instruments, probed around, and one genius punctured his liver. Garfield suffered through 80 days of infections before dying. His last words begging Swime, "Can't you stop the pain?" Medical malpractice killed a president. Unbelievable! William McKinley became the third assassinated president when an anarchist concealed a revolver under a handkerchief and shot him at a meet and greet in Buffalo. Doctors played operation but couldn't find the bullet.
It's not worth living.
8 days later, gangrene set in. His final words to his wife, "We are all going. We are all going. God's will be done, not ours." After this, Americans said enough is enough. And the Secret Service finally got full-time presidential protection duty. About time. Honestly, Teddy Roosevelt was built different. Running for a third term.
My lungs.
He got shot in the chest stepping out of his hotel. Did he go to the hospital? No. He gave an 84-minute speech with a bullet in his chest. The man was unstoppable.
Bang, bang.
6 years later, he led an Amazon expedition. Nearly died from malaria and a leg infection, but kept going.
I don't know where it is.
At 60, a blood clot finally took him in his sleep. His last words, "Put out the light." James, pour one out for the toughest president who ever lived. William Howard Taft, famous for getting stuck in the White House bathtub. Didn't actually die that way. At 5'11" and over 300 pounds, his heart gave out at 72. Woodrow Wilson lived his final years partially paralyzed from a massive stroke, calling himself a broken piece of machinery.
We're all going.
Warren
God's will be
Harding
done.
died from a heart attack while his wife read him the newspaper during a scandal-plagued presidency. Calvin Coolidge, Silent Cal, died so quietly that Dorothy Parker joked,
Friends,
"How can they tell?" Franklin D. Roosevelt won 4 consecutive presidential elections. Leave some for the rest of us. FDR, but his 4th term destroyed him. High blood pressure. Heart disease. Secretly had polio. Plus the stress of the Great Depression and World War II. While posing for a portrait, he suffered a massive stroke. His last words, "I have a terrific pain in the back of my head." Fast forward to November 22nd. 1996, John F. Kennedy riding through Dealey Plaza in Dallas. Nellie Connolly tells him, "Mr. President, you can't say Dallas doesn't love you."
Put out the light,
JFK
James.
responds, "No, you certainly can't." Seconds later, a sniper's bullet ends his life.
Trying.
46 years old. Youngest president ever killed. The theories, the mysteries. Lee Harvey Oswald murdered 3 days later. It's the conspiracy that never dies. Richard Nixon, famous for Watergate, lived to 82 before a massive stroke hit. His last word, "Help Gerald Ford," peacefully passed at 93, setting the longest living president record at the time.
Machinery.
Then Jimmy Carter said, "Hold my peanut farm," and lived to 100 years old. Dying December 29th. 2024. In his
I
final
believe in the
weeks,
American people.
he told
their
his family
capacity
he
for
was
good.
ready to see Rosalind again. A
must
century
work
of life,
together.
absolutely
That's
remarkable.
good. Read some more.
Ronald Reagan battled Alzheimer's for a decade
I
before
need
dying at
something.
93 with no lucid final words. George H. W. Bush's last phone call was to his son. The other President Bush, saying simply, I love you. 2. He died at 94. Here's the thing that gets me. The average presidential lifespan jumped from 70 years in the early centuries to 78 in the 20th century. Modern medicine and the Secret Service are keeping these folks alive despite having arguably the most dangerous job on Earth. 8 presidents died in office, 4 assassinated. 4 natural causes. The youngest died at 46. The oldest at 100. Adams and Jefferson dying the same day. The insane coincidences between Lincoln and JFK's assassinations. American presidential history is stranger than fiction. And
I
somehow,
have terrific
5
pain in
presidents
the back of
are
my
still with us
head.
today. Living proof that we've come a long way from bloodletting and contaminated White House water. From Tiswell to I love you. 2. From soup compliments to final pleas for pain relief. These men shaped a nation and left us with stories that remind us they were human after all. Flawed, funny, tragic, heroic, just like the country they led.